So we entered the last 1 month of a journey, and from here onwards, I think all of us have only one single goal: how do we make sure this becomes your one last step? Right? This is the only thing which is remaining. The best part about this month is you no longer would have your regular intent problem or interest problem or motivation problems. You feel that examination heat. You want to study. Earlier, you have to battle within yourself because there will be two parts of you. One keeps saying that you have to study. The other keeps pulling you back, or other keeps deviating you in some other channel. But naturally, without anyone saying anything, you would find some level of interest to study. This is the best advantage. Now, for somebody staying alone or staying somewhere outside, even if they want to study, they would not know how to study, and they would not know what exactly are the right steps, and most importantly, the common question: is the time enough? Now, even if somebody has been wasting the last 6 months, suddenly they get this enlightenment, and once they want to study, the next thing comes up, which will once again puts back them in the same state of not studying. Why? Earlier there is too much time, now there is too little time. So this is how the mind misbehaves with you. So at least you are reasonably sorted in that regard. Again, you will also have those questions time and again because it's the exam. This is one. And one important thing which you have to understand is whether if you watch a 20 over game, T20, if somebody is scoring 200, you know that the first 14 overs, the score is around 110. The last 6 overs, it goes to 90, right? You understand this? Normally, when you watch cricket, this is where it peaks. So it's not a 6 over run rate right now. It can go to 10 or 12 runs per over. This is exactly how humans behave all across. Even if you look at elections, the last 1 month, the star campaigner, whether it's at the state CM or the national PM, the last 1 month before there's a logical cutoff that you should not campaign further, the maximum campaigns happen over there. So this is always the case. Even something like CSR activity, where you have to pool in around 2%, most of the donations happen in March. So this is the human tendency where we do things at the last hour, 11th hour, or probably the 12th hour also. So this is exactly how it works. So once you understand it, leave it. So don't keep questioning whether I have time or not. If you think you don't have time, you think about the next attempt. If you're logically convinced that you have to skip, then silently write the next attempt. Because always try to cross question your mind. Don't let it impact your thinking process. Don't let it impact your performance. If it keeps saying, I don't have time, is it worth wasting another 5 months for this 5 weeks? Is the question you have. When you think it is not worth spending another 5 months, just do what can be done in this 5 weeks. That's about it. Okay? This is how it is. Now I'll take you through the entire journey. Normally, we would only give you 2 days or 3 days in advance because we don't want to add a lot of load onto your mind. This time we're giving an overview so that you are mentally prepared. Okay? So there are 3 categories here. One is group 1 students, group 2 students, and people who have 2D. Exceptionals will be you are having 3 papers like law, costing, and taxation. Or when you're writing both groups, it's slightly different, but this will serve the interest of the most of the people. Now, number 1, the current cycle, 14th to 20th, I'm confidently saying whether you're doing accounting or costing or FMSM, you'll cross 45 for sure. Because all the problems which you normally encounter when an intense cycle is being done, audit cycle sucked that, law cycle sucked that, which means all the problems, those papers already took away. Now you are normally able to sit for 10 to 12 hours, and most importantly, when you went and wrote the exam on the last day at ICI, you would have realized the correlation between effort and presentation, right? Whether it works or not, even if you end up getting 20, still you will be more confident than before because you know what is the correlation between how much I have learned and what I am able to present. So you will be surprised that there are some chapters which you have done very well, which you thought you done very well, where you may not be able to answer a question. Some general topics you use common sense, you write, and then you see that the answers are right. MCQs you would have done better. So all these aspects will give you some level of clarity in terms of how to approach the exam. So the examination random fear is removed. So this is pure work. So accounts is scoring, costing is scoring, FM, and one among them is scoring for you, whether because some of you will like arithmetic topics, some of you would like regular topics, non-arithmetic topics or theory topics. So either way, you can leverage 25 plus 20 is what we're looking at. Okay. So either way, this is possible, and we'll make sure this will happen for sure. Okay, this is the first step. Once you know that you have to complete one less subject, things will be easy for you. This is about your first subject. Now here we are going for a 100-hour challenge. We are completely going for a 100-hour challenge. It's a 100-hour challenge. We are giving you 10 days luxuriously. Until now we are fitting in 4 days, 6 days, all of that. Why? Because in a single cycle, we want to see if we can cross 55 directly without the need for a further cycle. And already your mind is exhausted. Like after 5 days, 6 days, your mind is exhausted. That's why, as I said, we'll take a half day, half tomorrow sometime, because I want you to execute the cycle. Once this is done, after two back-to-back cycles, you may not be able to perform in the same way. That's why we are stretching it till 10 days, and also this is the single most important cycle for you to finish everything. For people writing 2D, both the papers will be done parallelly because you are doing two half cycles, and people who are writing only group 2, we are expecting you to cross 55 at least in this cycle, and then you are having this taxation thing. Okay, so this is one long cycle where you are reasonably sorted with 2 papers. 1 and 2 are done and dusted. Then moving on to January. January is where your heat kicks in completely. So at that point of time, when you have too much time, you may not be able to study properly. It's like riding a bicycle slowly. You'll fall down. So from January, we'll only have 4 hour, I would say 50-hour challenge, which is inserted in 4 days, or 20-hour challenge or the 1.5 day strategy. Either 2 formats. You'll complete the subject in either 4 days or 2 days. 4 days or 2 days. Okay, I'll explain. Now talking about group 1, we'll start with law. 4 days, because already done one cycle. Even if you're at 30, this 4 days will take you to 45, 42, right? Law is done. Next, moving ahead, first paper accounts. This is the game-changing strategy which is extremely useful. For every other exam, other than the first exam, you will have 1.5 days. The advantage of 1.5 days is, it will help you boost your memory very quickly. 1.5 day revision cycle helps you to revise, to get everything in your mind very quickly for the immediate exam. Whereas for the first paper, it's a stretch. That's why we consciously create a 1.5 cycle even for the first exam. So accounts is done in 2 cycles, 50-hour and then 20-hour. 4 days separately and 2 days separately. 4 days will finish the whole cycle and write an exam as if it's some other exam. And once again we'll start from the evening and do this. So you'll get the experience of 1.5 day even for accounts. Okay, this is done. And regularly we move on to 1.5 day regular cycles, which you have already done here. Okay, this is exactly how we conclude the group 1 cycle. Coming to group 2, Jan 1st to 4th, we are starting with audit. Your law happens, your audit happens, because you have just done it the other way around, right? You already did this. And moving on, FSM, because since it's already done here, I'm giving you one more cycle where again I want you to either touch 60. If the paper is difficult, you should be able to comfortably touch at least 50. So you're getting 2 weeks for this topic here. Talking about audit already 1 cycle is done, 2nd cycle is done. Once again, we are going with the 3rd cycle. 3 cycles of audit will fix any gap whatsoever. And then, just like accounts 2 cycles, we are having 2 cycles of costing, 50-hour and 20-hour. So this will put you into the flow for the first exam, which is sorted. Now people who are only left with this, now again, it is easy to think that those 2 papers are easy. But for them, the reason why they are not able to clear it, because they have some difficulty with that, and it's not easy for them to move forward without fixing this. So that's why we are creating multiple cycles. Now here audit 50-hour challenge and FM 50-hour challenge, once again 20-hour, once again 20-hour, and finally audit will go through regular 50-hour plus 20-hour. So you are getting at least 3 to 4 cycles for each of these papers, where everything comes into your muscle memory. Okay, so this is a very well crafted strategy, and for this to be executed, you are there, and most importantly, you have a team of mentors who are constantly pushing you into the right zone. Again, it is always convenient to think. I'm telling you, something else syndrome. It is always convenient to think something else happen better. Now, if I have to tell you that, now I can also think, right? Had I got one more student who would have been far more obedient, my life would be easy. That is bullshit, right? If your parents think, had I got a kid who is whistling like Sharma Ande Ka Beti, like that is nonsense. So that is now you have to always understand what is happening is what can happen because of a series of things which you have taken. It's not sudden and random. If I'm speaking X number of words right now, that is because of who I am and how I built myself over the last 1 decade. Now after watching the video, if I sit and see that, I wish I would have said this, I wish I would have said that, I shouldn't have said this, that is nonsense. This is what I'm saying. This This is exactly what gets recorded. So it can only happen in one way. You imaginatively thinking won't change the outcome. Please understand that. As against when you want to fix something specific. Okay, today I woke up late. Tomorrow I'll sleep early, so that day after tomorrow I'll wake up early. This is the right process where you are logically creating a point-to-point basis for something to change, instead of randomly hoping something should change. If you just remove that, your cycle will go as planned, and all of you will feel. Okay, this is exactly what we are working upon, and the micro details will also be shared with you. To the extent of this cycle, it will be shared, it will be shared, it will be shared. And the learning process, one, learning from books, you already got this. I'm very happy with the progress. I'm actually, to be very clear and candid about it, all of you are using the books very fast, because I thought only final level guys can get adopted to that. You're also doing that. So books you're able to use. Videos, you always use it, right? Videos are very convenient, you always use it. Over and above, the mentor intervention will slightly accelerate your process. So the only thing you have to remove from your mind is unnecessary thinking, which will disturb your learning. Okay, so unnecessary. I'll just summarize one important thing in a minute. So you have three components of your mind. One is thinking, one is learning, the other useless thing is feeling. Thinking, learning, feeling. For example, if you think time may not be sufficient, it is what you are feeling. Thinking in a certain way creates a feeling which is emotional. Learning is cognitive. When you open and focus on marginal costing, it's learning. Cognitive thinking is learning. Emotional thinking is feeling. Emotional thinking has no relevance in the current exams. It has zero relevance in the current exams. So, cut off emotional thinking, focus on cognitive thinking, emotion cognition. As long as you think cognitively, that will take you further towards the exam, because question paper is cognitively designed. There are some papers which also have emotional thinking designed, like UPSC paper 4. We have a paper called ethics for 250 marks. It is designed in such a way that emotional thinking is also necessary. But for CA, emotional thinking is not necessary, because they don't care about this segment. When it is not necessary, please cut it off entirely. Focus on cognitive thinking, which is learning. I hope this is clear. If you know this one hack, your time would be entirely used. Almost out of 10 hours, you can use 8 to 9 hours. As against 3 to 4 hours, where they'll revolve in emotional useless loops. You understand that? Emotional intelligence is different from emotional foolishness. Let's say you sit and think about, what if I fail, it impacts my parents. That is emotional foolishness, because you thinking about it would not help you clear. If you're really bothered about not depending on them further, convert that emotion into cognition. That is real botheration, and that is real emotion. Real emotion is not wasting time in useless emotions. I hope this is understood. And at any given point of time, today you're also meeting a psychologist. I'm getting a clinical psychologist who specifically build character need of your emotional thinking, which is feeling. So there is an expert who can handle that also. That will outsource to that category. Here will take care of your cognition, which is your learning. Is that clear? Clear? Can I get a confirmation that your Jan 25 will become your one last second? Louder? Yes, sir. Perfect. Okay. So this is about it, and our intention together is to execute it completely. We'll at least have a 5-6 member team who are constantly working on this. Okay.